welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tolelo Roberta Mkachwa and I go by the name Roberta M across all my social media platforms. If you are new in this space, I hope you like, I hope you comment, I hope you subscribe. I hope you just stick around and that you keep track on how I approach wellness in an inside-out approach. Basically, we are here and we are just trying to approach holistic wellness. And in our episode today, we are trying to touch base on financial wellness. On the previous video that I made, I did say or speak a little bit about it on that. We're going to do a series of financial wellness videos and just to share ways in which we maintain or try to attain financial wellness. I wouldn't say I'm at a state where I'm financially well, but I feel like I'm at a state where I'm learning so much about being financially well. And I feel like I wouldn't want to hide or gatekeep this information to myself because I feel like having learned this information, it has already set me steps ahead in many ways, because it's the basic or the smallest of things. Sometimes you'll be having conversations with people that you would assume are aware of these things, and all of them are a shock to them. But like I said, I feel like having the basic knowledge of these things and applying them in our financial lives, oh my God, it really sets you up and it puts you paces ahead from where you would be. And I feel like once you get those steps right, you're able to get to a point where you can be talking about investing your money or even making sure that your money grows and it works for you. So I think I'll just dive in and get into the video and say that as we already started last year, the idea was to approach holistic wellness in its fullness, because, for example, when you touch on aspects about financial wellness, the reality of the situation is that everything revolves around money. I'm so sorry. Like I was saying, the reality of everything revolves around money. Money makes the world go round. Money makes people not to sleep at night. Money is the cause of many illnesses. Money is the solution to other illnesses. And as such, it is important that whenever you have the opportunity to grab money or to have money in your hands, make sure that you take it to the right place in order for the money to work for you. The book that I was reading previously, it speaks about that money is a good servant. And if you direct it or if you tell it where to go, it will go there and it will make rewards for you. And if you do not direct your money or you do not tell your money where to go, it just spills around everywhere and you have no accountability on whatever that you have in your hands. The painful part about being in South Africa in this day and age is that all of us need to account for our money because in as much as there's some money out there, there's also a lot of responsibilities that come with it. As such, we saw that it is important for us to delve into this and just share on what we have learned so far. I think the starting point for this video, speaking about finances, will just have to look at the demographics of our channel. Some people here, they are employed and they're making money. They know that they have a fixed income, and there's also a specific group of people that are unemployed. So the question becomes, what can I do in order for myself to participate in the economy in ways that sort of like fulfill me and all of that? So there are many ways in which people can participate in the economy. The starting point will be starting small businesses. I remember at some point I was unemployed myself and I used to bake and I used to sell scones, cakes, muffins, and cupcakes and the likes. And I used that in order to, because I had a bit of money that I had from my previous employer, but I could see that the money was running out because it was just sitting there. So I had to find ways to basically grow money and make sure that my money keeps growing instead of decreasing. So that's what I started, even though the business idea and everything did not even start based on that. How it started as a passion project because I think it was during COVID times and um, No one was hiring anyone. It was during COVID. No one was hiring. Things were bad. And it was my husband's birthday. I decided to bake a cake, and I loved the cake, and he also loved it. I think it was still during COVID when I started trying out a new recipe months later, and it worked out so well. My husband was like, "Why don't you sell this?" And that's when, that's how the business started. I then started baking. I extended my services and the likes. And I feel like I made money even though eventually I got tired and my health would not allow me to be on my feet all the time. At the time, I decided to stop with the business. But the bottom line is I started it. It would be money coming in, money going out. And I feel like I learned so much during that period of just selling a skill which you learned. It's also funny how I learned how to bake because I've been baking ever since I was like, what, maybe 10, if I'm not mistaken. But it was only years later that a business came out of that. So I feel like sometimes you can look from the formal employment sector and feel like maybe somebody owes me a job or somebody owes me what. But sometimes it's important to just look from deep within. What is it that I can offer? Because, for example, with the baking, I had already started baking from as early as 10 years old. Literally, my family granted me the opportunity to play around with the ingredients because every Sunday afternoon we would go to the mall, buy baking stuff, and I would come home and bake. And when I think of the things I used to bake at the time, I mean, you are my shoni, but the bottom line is I got to learn. It's a skill that I loved, that I cultivated myself, and I was able to offer it in exchange for money. So I feel like sometimes that is where we have to look. That is the starting point for ourselves on how we can make money for ourselves. What is something that I'm good at? What is something that I can offer to society that they can in exchange pay me for? So that's just one of those things. That's what I did. You can start a baking business. You can start social media business. You can start. Recently, I spoke to my sister. She told me that she started a laundry business. She's basically in the business of washing people's clothes, ironing them, and people get them ready. You understand? So that's another service that you can offer to people outside of the formal sector of employment. And then there's also another group that says, but you know what? I myself, I'm making money. I have a fixed employment. Say, for example, I earn 10,000 rands on a monthly basis. I do not know what to do with my money, or my money goes, my bills go beyond what my money can, how further my money can go. And basically, the money that I earn is too little compared to what I do. So the next question is, what can you do? You know, I feel like I personally grew up in a family where my parents were constantly selling stuff. It's like that used to sell things to supplement the income from selling Average Lane, Avon, Tupperware to everything, because that is how life was. Like to an extent that I think maybe a few years ago, they would even sell ice blocks at school, pens, biscuits, and all of those things. And eventually that just goes to teach you that sometimes the income that you make on a monthly basis will not be enough. It needs to be supplemented because it can never be enough. So there will always be room for people to be selling stuff or selling and just open room for yourself to make extra income and the likes. People are venturing into the property space, which I feel like it's very large at this point in what exactly our video is all about. But I feel like there will always be room to extend yourself. But obviously, the starting point will always be what service can I offer and what are people looking at in the community that is around me that can help me make an extra income in order to make ends meet. Things that I've just learned along the way in order to make your money work for you or to stretch your money at this stage is basically, I think we're just going to start from the starting point, which is the first thing, the importance of budgeting. Budgeting is very, very much important. And I know that sometimes people are like, but I know that I earn 10,000 rands and I know that my expenses go as far as 8.5, for example. and I don't know what else I do with the 1,500 rands that remains from my salary, but excuse me, it just goes wherever and I cannot account for it. So I feel like that is the most important part about money. Budget, give your money direction, tell your money where to go. It doesn't matter how if you know your expenses or not, but it is always important so that your money can go and do exactly what you want it to do. What is it that I'm doing this month? Because I feel like at the same time, the money cannot be doing the same thing on the same month or on the same months. This month, maybe for example, they ask you for money for a school trip. This month they don't, and all of those things. So you should be able to account for where does my money go, what do I do, and all of those things. It is very, very much important. I cannot stress this enough. And one other thing about budgets, it is very important to make your budget realistic and also make your budget flexible. There are things that I've added in my own personal budget, which I feel like helps me a lot. For example, money that is reserved for assisting. I literally call that account gifts of the givers. I know it's silly, but for me, I know that it's me because I know the money is a gift to me. So I'm going to give it to other people whenever there's a need. There's different needs. Sometimes it's just gifts towards friends. Sometimes it's my sister asking for money for that and that. And I can be able to take from that money and give to them without feeling a form of a pinch in my budget, whatever the case may be. And sometimes, like I'm saying, it's gifts towards friends, towards people that are around me. You're able to take from that and you're able to give to them without feeling a pinch in whatever way or that month in case your budget is that tight. So it's things like that. You create within your budget, it is very, very much important to also be specific. These are wants, these are needs, these are things that we learned in school, guys. My wants will come at the bottom, needs and all of those things. I basically also have like an allocation for money which is reserved for entertainment. Entertainment is for me, it is in relation to what I am going to spend, be it going out, being it with a friend, being it with whatever the case may be, and that is what is allocated for that within the budget. And then there's also things which are very, very important, paying yourself immediately when you create your budget as well. Set aside money for your savings. Set aside money for your long-term project, your short-term projects, whatever the case may be. But most importantly, set money aside for emergencies. I cannot stress this enough. There's so many people that speak on finance and they emphasize the importance of this emergency funds. I think Dave Ramsey says that your emergency fund should equal 6 months worth of your expenses. So now the question is, what is 6 months worth of your expenses, your budget entirely? What exactly it is that you spend your money on? If, for example, like I made an example earlier on to say you're earning 10,000 rands and your expenses are up to 8,500 rands, so it should be 8,500 rands multiplied by 6. And that should be money set aside for your emergency fund. And the rule around emergency fund is that each time you use that money, you should be able to replace it over time because it should remain like that. It should remain 6 months worth of all your expenses so that you can be able to be cushioned. It sort of like works as a measure of cushioning yourself and your own insurance and for you to avoid temporary loans, for you to avoid loans in the long scale of it, and for you to also avoid Abu Mashonisa, guys, because honestly, those are just things that we should avoid at all costs. And how can you avoid that? Because I feel like unless unless we are talking about a different case altogether. The point is just to get to a place where you can cushion yourself and you can sort of like absorb your own pressure. and whatever that comes your way, because honestly, like the term says, that emergency fund, you cannot plan for that. It just comes whenever. So it's very important that you do have like a cushion for yourself and money that you can go to take and cover that at the time when it comes. Because for example, we also, like in my family, created a thing where it's like a family emergency, and emergency fund. That is basically money that is reserved for like household things. Say for example, I'm just going to make an example about something that is very practical and that happened to us last month, and the previous month. I think the previous month, friends or close relatives, close friends lost members in their families, and we supported them by means of money, in whatever little that we had. We're able to take from that and just send to them to say, may whatever that they're doing go well, and in the preparations and whatever the case may be. We're able to take from that money, from the family emergency fund that we've created for ourselves. And then I think it happened maybe 3 weeks or whatever the case may be. It happened again. We had to take from the same fund, and we were not able to cover it. So come January, we get paid, and we want to cover the money that we already spent on the previous month, and we cover it, and then we are fine. We're like, okay, so we sorted. And before January ended, our window broke. There was like strong wind, and the window was opened, and it just smashed, and that was it. So we had to go take again from the money that we had already added. We thought we were now fine, but we had to go back and take from there and get the window fixed the following day. Those are just the type of things that we do in order to cushion yourself and to avoid yourself having to have, say for example, now would have to go to a credit card, or now would have to go to Mashonisa and all of those things. Because the point is, it's not every time that you have money. At least that's for me. Like it's not all the time that I have money. But when I know that there's money reserved for specific things somewhere, and that for me also avoids me wasting money and just spending it impromptu and all of that. So I do not like having money kept accessible for me. But now, when you come across emergencies, that is where you need to go to your own reserves and be able to use it. Because I feel like this is also biblical. That is what the Bible means when it says that we will not be borrowers, but we'll be lenders. We'll be the ones that are giving people money whenever there's a need for them. Also, I'm not saying borrow people money. Because I feel like this thing of borrowing people money, it's a subject for another day, guys. But that's just the point. The point is, as children of God, we should be the light. And when we are the light, it means that in everything, because having money is Christ-like. Having money is something that is Christ-like. Having peace in knowing that God is going to cover and cater for all your needs, even that is Christ-like. So that is what we should be. We should become like that. We shouldn't be always the ones that are running to borrow money from people, from institutions, when we can also cultivate the culture of saving money for ourselves and cushioning ourselves. And the question now becomes, but okay, say now my expenses are almost close to 45,000 rands. I'm not sure of the maths, if that's correctly it for a person with expenses of 8.5 on a monthly basis. I'm just estimating, say it's 45,000 rand. So now the question is, how then do I get to save a 45,000 rands or 50,000 rands, for lack of a better amount or the exact one? So now the question is, that is what you do. You save from as little as whatever amount that you can save on a monthly basis. It's very important to save towards your emergency fund until it is fully funded. And then once it's fully funded, then you can think about your small-term goals, your long-term goals. I want to buy a car, I want to buy a house, I need to save for these, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need to upgrade my bed, I need to, all of those things. And that's where it starts. The starting point is having an emergency fund. It is very, very important to cushion yourself. It is very, very much important. I cannot stress this enough. And make sure that your emergency fund is fully funded. so that you can be able to be cushioned. It's very, very important to have those type of savings. You should also have your annual savings. And one question that may come is that how then do I create other vehicles to save money, for either my short-term goals and my long-term goals? It is very, very important to save for specific things whenever you want to do them. Don't do things impromptu and just do it. I think unless of course you can afford it, but I feel like for the most part of us, we need to save in order to get to that goal that we may have for ourselves. So it's important that we do that, save money in order for us to achieve that goal. So the next question will be then, how do I make savings, or how do I save? I have a problem whenever I save money, I eat it and all of those things. It depends also on your discipline and the likes. If you feel like you're confident with your discipline, you can be able to save money for yourself. It's important. You can just reserve a specific amount of money. Most people advise that whenever you want to save money, save at least 10% of your salary towards your own goals. So that's like 10% of that. Say, for example, it's the 10,000 rands. You can save at least 1,000 rands. And if you can save more, great, do that. Save more of that, and it's going to cover you whenever you need it, or whenever you decide what projects you want to work on, in order to avoid, again, what we spoke about, getting into debt unnecessarily. So it's important to do that. So if you can just schedule a certain portion of your money into a savings account and save it like that. If you can't and you feel like, oh my God, I cannot save money for myself, you can get yourself attached to groups like stockpiles and the likes. Stockpiles can be structured in a way that on a monthly basis we're rotating to this person, or whatever, we save the money throughout the year, and by the time December comes, we share the interest amongst each other and the likes. And when it comes to stockpiles, it is very, very much important that you align with people that you know, people that you can account for, because there's a lot of criminals going on around these days. So it's very, very much important that you get people that you know, people that you can point out tomorrow whenever there's a dispute or whatever the case may be. So that's another saving vehicle that you can use. There's also other investment with banks and all of those things, and other financial institutions where you can just put whatever money that you have. So you have a lump sum, you save it for a specific number of years until you've attained whatever goal that you want to get to. So that's just one way, and there's another way as well, whereby you are disciplined enough, you can do that and save towards that goal. When that goal comes, you're able to take the money, you do whatever it is that you want to do. One other thing that I would also just advise is that sometimes it is important to make your monthly expenses as little as possible in order for you to maximize being able to save money, especially with things like bonuses and the likes. One thing that I personally have done, I'm going to show you guys just now a video where I bought certain household expenses or certain household things that I know that these things are staples, like we need these things every month. My budget wasn't too big because it was the first time that I'm actually doing this, but I'm really, really excited, and I feel like it is already actually done that, because it has already decreased my monthly expenses or monthly budget when it comes to food items or my monthly expenditure. These are household cleaning things, and these are just toiletries, because you're definitely going to use these things. So it's very important that on a monthly basis, now I'm already separating on my budget. I'll show you guys a video of that just now. This is how I plan on making sure that my money works for me in the new season. And I did a mini stockpile. So the starting point is cleaning stuff. So I have 6 of each, and I think these will last me for a bit of time.
I don't know exactly how long it will last, but this is just 6 of each. I love the Woolies brand because I feel like it really lasts long, and also it's like really effective. I remember when we moved to our home, we were able to use it to clean like real stubborn stains on the wall, especially the all-purpose cream cleaner. So all of these are very effective. So we have 6 of each. I'm hoping that this will last me until maybe June. So if it does, then it would have done great, because as it stands, I already have like one of each which is working. So these are just like additional ones and extra ones. So yeah, that's the first thing, part of my stockpile. Secondly, then comes washing powder. I actually got these ones on sale. Like the sale was really good, because normally you get the auto washing powder for like more than 80 rands, but now it was on sale and I got it for only 55 rand each. So that really helped a lot. And I had already bought the 3 kg hand washing powder last year during Black Friday. I had quite a few, but they have one that I'm using currently, and some of them we took home, so we only have these ones. So I'm also excited about the soap. I cannot wait to see how long it lasts. So yeah, next these are fabric softeners. I hope that they can push us until somewhat May, June, because I have a new one which is opened and it also works well. It's still full or slightly full, so that should push us for some time, you know, until May, June. You say each one does like 40 washes, especially the comfort. Oh my god, guys, it smells so good. So I hope that it can push us longer. Each one does 40 washes. I actually do measurements each time when I use it, and it smells amazing. So I'm really excited for the comfort, the plug, your comfort, guys. And yeah, I cannot wait to see how this turns out as well. It was also on sale. I think the sale that passed me was the Black Friday one, where I think it was 90 rand for 3, if I'm not mistaken. I only got them for like 90 rand for 2. Yes, and the refill, I got it earlier on in the month. Yes, it was also 90 rand for 2, if not 80 rands. And then yeah, the bottles, yeah, I got them for 45 rand each. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one. The MAC Ordinary one fabric softener was not on sale. Yeah, but it goes for a really good price compared to the Ordinary Stay Soft, which is very expensive. So yeah, I am excited about these. I managed to get bath soap. There's like 7 of them. And then I got toothpaste and one for the boy as well. And also body wash and body lotion. I guess I'll just see how long all of these last. I think it's also just a trial and error for me at this point, because family is now a family of just 2 adults and 1 child. Before there was like 4 of us. So now it's all different. So yeah, we'll just see how long it lasts. But I am hopeful that it'll stretch a bit, you know. But yeah, that's just what I got in terms of Dindo Tech Cares. I also got sanitary pads. The 3 packs were like 2 for 3. You pay 2, you get 1 free. Yeah, and then what is it? 2 for 3, whatever. And you pay for 2, you get 1 free. So I got the same thing. The small pack is one that I got last year during Black Friday, and also the tampons, and then also the Mecham is for me, and the Dove. Also, just wanted to try out Dove because I also realized that it's so difficult to get Mecham these days. I've been struggling a lot, so recently I bought Dove, and yeah, I wanted to. So far, it's coming all right, and we'll just see how long it takes me and how well my body can take it. But yeah, that's the ones that I got, and also noting that we also have others that are open that we're using currently, so I think it will last long. I don't know how long. Maybe the sprays are like take more like a month and just over a month. So I think it should stretch, taking into account there's already one that's open and another one. So this should push us, I think, Mayish. Yeah, we'll see. I'll give you guys an update. There's also tissues. I got these for 100 rands each at the time from Pick and Pay. So yeah, that also is going to help. I also got the ones from Woolies last year during Black Friday. The two for 200. Yes, I got those. So we're still using those ones. And yeah, I think this should push us, honestly. So these are the things that we were able to get for our mini stockpile. I'm just going to see and observe how long these things last. I'm hoping around April, Mayish, but yeah, I think that will give me a clear indication on how to go about it. But I feel like I'm already experiencing the financial relief already because I don't get to buy these things on a monthly basis. So give it a try, guys. I highly recommend it. I am really, really enjoying it myself already as it is.
I feel like cutting down on your monthly expenses gives you room to achieve more things and to also push your savings goals. Also, one thing that I also did in last year when I received my bonus, I took some money and I put it on our monthly municipal whatever rates levies and put it there in that account. So on a monthly basis now I'm paying like half of that, and I feel like it has already spared the other half of the money. And that helps a lot because it means I have more money to use on whatever that I need to use in my budget or within my budget. So I feel like it is very, very much important, or this draws us back to the budget and making sure that my money goes a little longer, or it goes a long way towards savings. Like I said, I also did I did some few notes, so I'm looking at them now. Guys, also one other thing that is important, I feel like I've already covered most of these things, but one other thing that is also very much important is the subject of insurance policies. It is very much important to have these because whenever emergencies come or unfortunate events come, I've spoken to a lot of people that have been saying, you know what, ever since I lost X, Y, I have lost so much money because I wasn't able to cover for this, and that, and all of those things. I think more importantly, it is important to just have those in place, like proper funeral policies, and to cover for that, life covers for unfortunate events where in case you're the one that dies or a family member and all of those things, and you're able to cover that, it is very much important. But I feel like when it comes to such things, also one thing that is important, especially as parents or a person that is working that has other elderly people in their lives, it's very important to create those. But I've also realized, thinking about it, that sometimes we put pressure on ourselves, and this is not just in the case of death or whatever the case may be, but in life in general, we put pressure on ourselves so much that it becomes impossible for us to meet those demands and whatever. social media can also influence us a lot in those things, but I feel like it is very much important to just stick to your lane and do you, even as little as your budget and things like that, because it's not every month that you'll be able to buy clothes. It's not every month that you'll be able to go for that lunch date. It's not every month that you'll be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But sometimes social media pins it as, oh, self-care, oh, this, and that. And then you feel pressured to do those things because everyone is doing it. So I feel like it is very much important, especially with unfortunate events like death and the likes, have your proper insurance policies in place and so that it can cushion you as well whenever those unfortunate events come. Even with things like your cars and all of those things, if you can, if you know that you don't have insurance, for example, for your vehicle or whatever the case may be, then have savings enough to cover that in case you have a breakdown, in case you hit someone, in case whatever this happens, But the point is, it is very much important to have life covers. It's very much important to have funeral covers. It's important to insure your home. It's important to ensure your everything basically because unfortunate events may come. And this now goes back to the conversation that we spoke about earlier, the issue of emergency funds, because you are able to take from that and cover that. So that's why it's very much important. We cannot stress that enough, guys. Please, those are just the lessons that I have for you today, and I hope that you guys learn. I hope that you are inspired. I hope that you're motivated to make better financial choices for yourself. I think on the next occasion, we'll cover things like debt and how to avoid debt and also how to get into the habit of paying off our debt quicker and faster in order for ourselves to find ourselves in a place where we are financially well and our debts or whatever responsibilities that we may have on a month-to-month basis do not make us sleep or stay up at night. Just to sum up and conclude the subject on today's topic, I just wish to say that it is very much important that a person is true to themselves in whatever income that they make, whichever way they structure their budget, their savings, and also what they do with their income, because that on its own will determine the kind of life that a person is going to live. Are they going to be at peace or not? Constant battling or fighting sometimes because of things that we cause ourselves or things that we bring to ourselves, also succumbing to peer pressure and all of that, because in all honesty, in making that budget sure of how much you make, if you're true to yourself, you will know that it is important to say no, it is important to say I can't, or it is important to say this is how far I can go, and also just being true to yourself. That means you're true to how you reward yourself in your own budget, true to how much you save in your own budget in order to avoid a situation where you save money today, you take it out tomorrow. The importance is basically being true, and also not succumbing to peer pressure, like I said. If this season you cannot afford to go on holiday, it's still okay because you are meeting a certain goal or a deadline. If you cannot go on that lunch date because you maybe gave your parents this money this month, or whatever the case may be, it is very, very much important because in all honesty, like I said earlier on, you see things being called self-care, spoiling yourself on a monthly basis and all of those things. Also not taking away the importance of indeed spoiling yourself, because obviously, you work hard, but the importance of balancing thereof so that whenever you find yourself in a tight corner, you will know also where to go take in order to cover for yourself. So it is very much important, guys, to know yourself, know why you're here, know what you're doing with your money in order for yourself to be fulfilled. Also, it's important you can be inspired by other people, but how other people live their lives should not dictate how you live yours. So yeah, stay in your lane, be true to yourself, and always, always reward yourself at the same time, balancing everything out in order for you to succeed in whatever goal that you have. I hope this conversation was an eye-opener. I hope that you learned or you picked up a few lessons from it, and I hope that we all can exercise this in order for ourselves to grow financially and so that our finances can be in a better place. I think the next episode will be touching on things such as debts, touching on things such as investments and the likes in order for ourselves to grow financially and to find ourselves in comfortable spaces, not constantly staying up at night because of lack of finances. If you have reached this part of the video, I would like to thank you so much for being here. I hope you like, I hope you comment, I hope you stick around and that you keep track on how we approach wellness in an inside-out approach. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I am because you are.